I was the former deputy mayor of Taipei City. And, but before I was the deputy mayor, I served as a faculty. I teach and I study in the university. So after I have the 4-year service, I go back to the faculty. So I enjoy the duration as a former deputy mayor and help the mayor Kerr. I think he visited Atlanta. He told me lots of things about Atlanta. But since I'm his deputy mayor, so when he got a block, I have to stay at home. Okay. So this is my pleasure with all of you to share how the transformation of Taipei and as a planner, as a professional planner. And I'm not only serving as a deputy mayor, I'm also was the general director of the central government within specifically in the planning agency. So it is my honor to show you as I also know that most of you will be interested in what the transformation and the city is going on, especially for the Taipei. So the theme is the Taipei Transformation Strategy and the Vision 2050. So you can see this is the capital of Taiwan. Even though the population scale is 3 million, but you can see the wide boundary. It's a hotline because it's a capital city, and within the surrounding area, it comes up to the 9 million populations. It's a compact city altogether. So this is why the city have to move forward again. And you can see that the eastbound there will be the Keelung Harbors, and the westbound will be the airport, Taipei Airport. So it became more important things to as an international city. The city had to move forward, and again, it had to transform itself. And this is the way. Before that, after 60 or 70 years of urbanization in Taipei, it changed a lot. So I give you back to the 20 years. This is a photo pictures. I took the photos by helicopter. So you can see this is the west end of districts. Still there will be getting a lot of changes. And you can see this is a few years ago there will be getting booming, even though there was the old district, but something is going on. And this is in the middle of the city of Taipei. Most of you maybe have been experienced visit there. It's getting high-rise. But within the high-rise, the most important thing, you have to have some urban design guideline to persuade the architect to go with the developers to make the city much more beautiful. It's not the width of a beautiful, it's the much more imaginable. So you can see this is the recent photo being taken by myself from Taipei 101. You can see this is the Mayor Deng Hui-li. He's the founder of this place. When in 1980, this place is the vacant land. After 40 years, it's come up this way. But at the basic plan is the development plan with urban design guideline. And this development plan with the management control, and step by steps. And that will be the, right now it becomes a very important financial center, commercial center of Taipei. I will tell you where is it. And this is the east end. It just only takes 20 years from the brownfield. What I mean the brownfield is the old-fashioned industry zones, Nangang. But right now it becomes a very important technology hub of the capital city of Taiwan, including the ICT industry and the biotech industry. Because of the advantage of the academia. So there will become lots of the human resources and research and entities also there. So again, this is good advantage for the city. And as a mayor and as a deputy mayor, I look on the focus and I look on the opportunity that we have to go fast. And you can see this is the way we build up and it's not only for the private sector, but important things. If one move the regeneration of the city, you have to do more important infrastructure. So taking this for example, that the National Exhibition Center will be relocated from the Xinyi to Nangang. Let me tell you, Nangang will be the new start for the whole Taipei city. So it will be the concentration of the most important national developments. Most important is the accessibility. So I will give you the what happened for the recent years. So this is my map as a professor, or as was the former deputy mayor. I'm rolling up this line. You can see that after 60 years, the city of Taipei from the west to the east. And the red part showing the core, the real core of the functions. So it's a complex city, but piece by piece. So what makes this happening is urban developments. What makes this happen is the way you have to have the metro. You have to have a bell line. You have to have the circle line to move a city ahead. You have to make your city much more as a flow density and as a flow city. So this is the way I'm showing you the, before that, the last picture is around the existing phenomenon. But what I'm going to do is leading the city for the future. Move ahead to the years of 2050. Most of the people say this is too far for them. But as a planner, I have said, you need a break plan. You need a vision plans, even though it's very far. But it will come, you should look on the ingredients of the future plans. So in facing the futures, it is necessary to develop that we have to do this. As well as to set a vision target for the years of 2050 to drive Taipei to move forward into the future, become creative and sustainable. So I said, you have to make your city regenerative and innovative. The most important thing is you have to have a long-term plan. So this is as a professional, I said this is very important thing. So that will be my presentation to you. There are most 4 ingredients for the strategic plans. Not more than 5, just only 4. Very important things. There's a destination of the Taipei. I said the first one is during the periods of 2015 to 2018, I hold in a position, and I have the commissioner of the urban development, commissioner of the transportation, commissioner of the metro. So I'm taking in charge as a cooperation, as a platform. The deputy mayor's jobs is trying to make all the commissioners have the right to do what they want to do. But the mayor or the deputy mayor is a platform. I try to figure out what kind of cooperation I should help us. But the other specific strategic plans should be made by the mayor or the deputy mayor. So number 1, Taipei long-term metro circle line projects. It will make it 20 years from the next. Even though right now the metro of Taipei is quite famous, it's very popular. And let me tell you, the service has been ranking by the world globalizations that the Taipei metro has been ranking number 1 or number 2, the service for the metro. You cannot drink in the metro. It's very on time. It's very successful. So the second thing is the urban regeneration program. Instead of making small buildings renovations, you need a big action plan for district development. The third thing is the public housing. I have to admit that for the 33 years, the metro, the subway, have been undergoing. Right now, it was still ongoing. But after 33 years, it becomes a new punishment for the young people. They need to move from the core city to outbound of the city because the land is getting higher and higher. So what's happening there? What they need is a housing. But they cannot afford it, such high prices of the central of the Taipei. So it becomes the most punishment for the young people. To me, I'm saying that this is an obligation for the city. As a deputy mayor, I get a strong recommendation to the Province. We need to do public housing. And those public housing is not for sale, it's for rent. So we should provide better housing for the young people, and they got the right to stay in the core of the city. 1/3 of their salary to pay off the rental, and they are eligible to live more than 6 years. Let us give them some help, and then they can get married, and they can get their child. So then after 6 years, they got the money to purchase another house. So this is very fundamental for the people, especially for the administration people to do this. And 4 things that resilience. Last night I visited the first time to Atlanta, the storms. I'm really afraid of that. Especially the midnight, still it's getting raining. Okay. Well, the Taipei also made pretty hard for the city because it's getting flood. The climate change is quite apparently it's damaged. So we're always facing that. So we started to have the resilience. The city resilience building up is quite important things. So let me show you this. One thing is the long-term metro. This is the map. Right now, the metro system in Taipei, starting from 1980. Li Zhenghui, the mayor, formerly mayor, he is the founder of the metros, and take more than 33 years. Right now, it's come to the 36 kilometers. But the target I'm doing is we will move to the 260 kilometers for the next 20 years. And you can see this is the stations around the 500 and to the 300 radius to come up covering the whole Taipei city. So you can see this is improving the core function of the capital. Right now, it's starting from the 160 kilometers, move to the 270s. It's very lucky that the central government and the local government, even though they are different parties, but they are standing on the same view to both to support the circle lines. It's kind of a bell lines, circle lines. So I propose this, and you can see this is very important in improving the core function of the capital areas. It's not only to enhance the capability of the Taipei, but also to integrate the new Taipei City, and the Keelung City all together. The most important thing is to make the people living in the capital surrounding. It only takes you less than 40 minutes to every place. It cannot be only using the metro. You have to have the city bike. You have to have the electric scooter for the last mile. And the bigger thing is to make more than improvement of the pedestrian quality. And then we'll make the city accessible, livable. So this is the way we are doing the, you can see the yellow part is the circle line for the futures. But I have mentioned to you that it's very lucky that the central government and the local government, they all agree to support us. And they will share the burden of the financial support between the central and the different individual local government all together. But you can see that eastbound will go to the harbor of Keelung. The westbound will go to the airport. So it became more important economically because of the accessibility, high-speed accessibility. So that would be including the railroad, metro, and the high-speed rails all connected and putting the harbor and the airport all together. So it will again and again, the strong economic can be perspective. So this is the way half of the Taiwan population concentrate on this spot. So you can see the next steps, including the metro, the extension of the metro system as a circle line. Most important thing is how should we do the TOD, transit-oriented development. A very important thing is you have to using the TOD strategy to getting back more public site for the public housing, to make more the kindergartens, schools for the future developments. With the TOD as a trade-off, can take in some incentive. The government will do some incentive to the private sector, and the architect will bring it back some more public facility for the city. So this is the steps I have suggested to do. So the second paradigm is that the urban regeneration is not urban renewal, but somehow it's urban regeneration. So there were two examples. One thing is the west part, the other is the east part. Because of time limitations, so the urban regeneration I will focus on the west gate and the east gate. So you can see most of you, maybe you have been in Taipei. So how long you have been in Taipei? This is the main station of Taipei. And you can see this is a lowest gateway. Lowest gateway, and I think in your young memory that we don't have a lowest gateway, but it's still always there. Because 40 years ago, the engineering tied it up with the elevated way. Tied it up. Even though the nose gate, it's a Qing dynasty, more than 140 years. But it just disappears because the civil engineers, transportation engineers, need to have a more quickly transportations. So 40 years ago, we built an elevated way to round up the nose gateway. So at Mr. Ke and me, we decided to show it up. So it has been more than 40 years. But how should we do it? I told the mayor that it will be the first actions. If you want to make the main station urban regeneration, you need to tear down the elevated road. Whatever you cost, you have to do it. But the mayor told me, how should we do that? Because it's a heavy traffic. You cannot stand on such a long demolitions. I figure out. How about the 6 months walking? I can take 6 days. I do that. So it becomes a very important thing. This is the elevated road. And it blocked all the development possibility. But it enriched the transportation. But right now we are coming to the pedestrian is better than, pedestrian priority is better than vehicle. So we need to tear down and show up the light of the glory of the North Gateway. So let's just take let me figure out. Because we have a Chinese New Year's. So I take the Chinese New Year's vacations. I put all the energies into the 6 days to tear down the elevator. Only 6 days, 46 months. So this has become a new paradigm. And right now, it becomes the most important things. You will invite the new developments, even though the Taipei Youju and the Taipei main stations, you will bring it up. The most important thing is the strategy of a TOD. Let me tell you, this stations, Taipei main stations, the passenger per day is more than 500,000. 500,000 in this surroundings, passengers, and it's getting up. The rate is getting up. So this is the way, the West Gateway as urban regenerations, but people-centric. It's not motor-centric. So we need to grow really our national histories. We need to pedestrian, and then we encourage the international investment and also the domestic investment to build up the image. And I say this is a living room, reception room for the Taipei City. So this is before I go into this, would you like to share what I'm showing to you? This is 40 years ago, and standing with the people of Taipei, longer than 7,600 kilometers, but it's a very careful planning, construction management, and choosing the right strategies. Instead of using 6 months to tear down piece by piece, I focus the 6 days. When all the people are in their New Year's vacations, we are holding on our positions to tear down the elevated road. So you can see, even though the National Geographic also shooting the films, broadcasting. So this is the first day. I allocate more than 2,600 workers, okay, and more than 250 cranes. It's not only tear down, and we have to replace. And most important thing is very critical because the national monument and the advantage is only 70 centimeters. 70 公分 70. So you have to carefully to do this and cut it off and quick actions, and we can see the light. It's not only the nose gate, the national monument being stood up again to tell the people that this is the Taipei. So you can see, in addition to tear down the road, I want to say landscape design is very important. So I insist that the most transparency of the process will be should. So we have the architect join, and we also have a very good contractor going in. Yes, and the design has been discussed with the people of the Taipei, and you can see it's piece by piece. And this is the curvature. So it's a cooperation. It cannot be done by one authority. You have to do more cooperation with the transportations, public works, and even the environmental protection authority has to go with them. So you can see this is the right now, the nose gate has been a very important place for the people, and most of the events will be happening right there, and it become a glory of the urban regeneration as a good parallel. So you can see this is the way we are doing this. When the elevator would be teared down and the whole story comes up, and the people enjoy it. So I insist no people should underpass to the North Gateway. I insist people can easily access to the North Gateway. Pedestrian is more important without a vertical transformation. So this is the way it became a new hope for the Taipei. What we said is the urban regenerations, and so the big actions for Taipei. So this is one of the actions, and let me tell you the other one. In quite different from the Nose Gateway, in the West Gate. Nose Gate is more modern systems. So we turn in the brownfield to the new hub of the technology, and the way you can see there will be much more elevated pedestrian crossway system. And at the same time, we go to the people's rally because we want to encourage the people to go into the regenerations. And you can see this is the brownfield, and we turn into the high-tech hub. There will be biotechnology, ICT technology. Most important thing is the red part shows we should take a good advantage of the academia senior. So academia senior becomes the engine of the biotech. So you put up the national research center right here, and it will boom in all the system. So one say the city of Taipei should take good advantage of that to moving ahead as an action plan of the district regeneration. So you can see this is the entrepreneurs, architect, they are going to do this. And one shows the software world park and the financial park. They all get together. People, it's easy to, they don't go down to the street. They can go through the pedestrian skywalk to connect all the systems together. So you can see this is the national exhibition centers. So this is the second paradigm. One is old park, the other is the new technology. So this is the city of the, it's not only one image. You should have a multi-image to diverse image of the city. So I'm coming to the end. The third thing is the public houses. As I mentioned at the very beginning, after 33 years, a metro system for Taipei, making the city more accessible through getting a higher and higher price of the land price that the young people cannot afford it. They are forced to move out of the core, to leave the outbounds of the city. Almost they have to, because of their salary, cannot afford it. So very important thing is public housing that, please see this. Within 2 years, I, as a representative, taken in charge of the public housing, I contract 20,000 household units within 4 years. 20,000 households. And right now it's under construction. And there will be more than 49 sites. I don't want to put public housing in the suburban of the city. I want to put the public housing just around the metro. Because there will be the young generation to live there. They can spend less in terms of transportation cost. And so they were easier for them. To me, the young generation, they are creative elements of the city. The old people, they are rich. They should move out from the city. It's the wrong idea, no. I'm just joking. But the city always needs the creative elements. So let them back. Let them back to the city. So this is the site, and you can see this is and the people say we should go to visit Hong Kong and Singapore, make a public housing all the same. I said no. Every single public housing should be melted into the local district. Yeah. So why not let the young architect they doing things? Yeah. So I insist there should be different public housing, but there was some principle, especially from the second floor underground. There should be public use, not for housing. They will be using the elder people take care, and the kindergartens, and also the medical cares, because it's the demographic change quite regularly in Taipei. So we need a new size of facility. Why not using the 49 sites for public housing? And then we get a new revolution that we cannot purchase more lands, but we should put all the things together. So public housing become the most important DNA of the district development. So this is the policy that you can see public housing for the new ways of the living for community. And the elder people and the young people, the kids, they all together and taking this, they are having this opportunity, and the young people getting these new buildings, and they also have the right to have a vertical gardening activity arranged by the tenants. And you can see, even though they don't know each other before, but whenever they live there for the 6 years, they become good neighbors and good friends. So what we can do is offer the possibility for them to engage by themselves. And taking this one is one example that we are taking the elder housing. It's a mixed elder housing with the young people all together. And the elder people, they can turn their old house to the city government, and they get the allowance, and they can live there. And whenever they want to have their house back, the city government can bring their house back. But at the same time, when I'm doing the 1 unit, I can create 2 units. Let me say it again. We encourage the people, elder people, to turn their house to the Department of the Housing. And then the public housing will be turned into the allowance for the elderly people. But within the days, the housing becomes a new property for the Taipei city for the public housing. So it's become a turn-off. So this is the way we are doing, and you can see this is a real reality. So public housing is very important, especially for the Taipei. More than the 30 years metro system has been going, but we are rethinking again. We should bring the creative elements to Taipei. There will be most important transformation strategies. Because we cannot only focus on infrastructure, we are focused on people's livings. And we have focused for the creative elements. Young people need the city government to pay them more care. So finally, I will say the whole world and the whole system is a resilient program in that city. And there were so different phases. One thing is the creative, large scales of wetlands in Taipei. 4 years ago or 5 years ago, it's not so accustomed that the city of Taipei, because they build a beautiful gardens, they don't build wetlands. But I say this important thing. We should turn the garden into the wetlands in the inner part of the Taipei. It's very important because it's lots of a function. Water detentions, and the most important thing is a very good weapon to respond to the climate change. And at the same time, it's a biodiversity of the Taipei. And also, it's the other phases that programs that we encourage the people and most of the institutions, such as the hospital. We promote a vertical gardening. Vertical gardens. So at that point, we provide a subsidy for private and public. And then Garden City is a program. And this is the local action, urban reaction for the acupunctures. It's not a big and small, but we provide a small money for the organization of the small non-profit organization, even the people. They love that we have this kind of a green spot. So you can see in the vacant lands, and it turned up to the green side. So let me come to the end. This is the Taipei Vision 2050. It is important things to me to say the message that Taipei is one of the examples that make itself transformer, but it still needs lots of the support by the public. It's not only the top-down way; it's the way of the bottom-up. So I insist that the Taipei Vision have to have a more intensified citizen involvement. Even though it's a long-term strategic plan, we should go to the people. And the second is the strategic plans will be a good cooperations among different authorities and between the central and the local governments. Third thing is within the plan, I think how the city responds to the climate change is very important ingredients. I think you are also looking at that resilience is the most important thing for any city of the whole world. And so there will become how can we do more with less? And always is in planning progress. Even though I just stepped down from the deputy mayors, I still have a good connection with the administrations. And I go back to the university. I teach my students and said the city is going on, but the city always adapts itself to the new change. So this is the very important things that to get more information to. So let me end right like this. Vision for new metropolitan centers in Taipei. So I just give you an example that the recent years of Taipei, probably some audience you are also coming from Taipei. You can see the slides. There was just happening things, but it will carry on. It will going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give it back to you. I am very appreciate the opportunity, especially to witness the 40 years since the time between Atlanta and Taipei. It's a wonderful experience. So I also very thank you, Mike. He got 3 months ago, he came to Taipei looking for me and the 2 people, 2 young generation. So we appreciate. And again, we should work together between the city, sister city, and we should learn each other. I'm looking forward more learning from you. Thank you.
In the center of Taipei, a major roadway carries thousands of vehicles every day, dominating and obscuring one of the city's most important monuments, just centimeters away. As the city prepares to receive a massive influx of new visitors, a program is underway, one that will restore some of Taipei's former glory. This road will come down, and not one brick of the ancient gate must be harmed. And there are just 8 days to do it. For these engineers, it's the ultimate demolition challenge. The heart of Asia, where past and future meet. The city of Taipei. With a population of almost 3 million, Taipei is one of Asia's most densely populated cities. Over the years, many improvements have been made. From majestic structures, luxury office towers, to fancy shopping districts. And of course, an ever-improving transport network to bind it all together. In 2017, the city will be hosting a large-scale international sports event for the first time ever. So Taipei wants to show itself at its best. One of the old city's proudest monuments, the North Gate. But this monument is almost overwhelmed by an elevated highway that passes just inches away from it. And one of the unique challenges of the redevelopment plans will be removing this highway in just 8 days. In the 18th century, Han Chinese began to migrate to northern Taiwan, where Aborigines used to live. They opened up the land for agriculture and became the first developers of Taipei Basin. As the importance of settlements along the Danshui River grew, the governor of Fujian, Shen Baozhen, decided that the capital of the island should be moved here, in between Mengjia and Dadaojiang. So the walled city was built there, in undeveloped marshland. The North Gate that led to the trading port of Dadaojiang, the East Gate, and the West Gate that led to Mengjia, as well as the South and Side-South gates. In a short period, this area was transformed from a swamp crisscrossed with rivers to Taiwan's financial and administrative hub. Taipei was born. After demolishing the last pier, the 750-meter overpass is now a thing of history. The shield which has protected the North Gate from the demolition can also be removed. It's an historic moment. After over 40 years, the gate stands free again. It's time for Taipei to move on from being a city that was built to be practical and utilitarian, even if that means some inconvenience and destruction. The city is redesigning itself. There is a wealth of history and heritage to be uncovered. Blending with the modern and avant-garde. Traditions side by side with the latest fashions. From a city enclosed by walls, Taipei is becoming a city that is opening up to the world.